I'll introduce myself. My name is Liz Jennings, and I'm Director of Community Engagement for Community Action of Skagit County. And we welcome you all for being here. This is our monthly Brunch and Learn with Community Action. And I don't know about you, but my brunch is a warm cup of coffee. That is mine today. Do help yourselves if you need a snack or coffee during our workshop today. And I want to start by saying that apparently we are having some technical difficulties for the brunch or for community action. The internet is unstable this morning, and it was in Mount Vernon, and we've heard that maybe our East County office doesn't have internet. So we're going to start today and hopefully our East County folks can join us, and if not, we will reschedule. But we thank you all for being here. The Brunch and Learns with Community Action actually started as Lunch and Learns probably almost 10 years ago, and during the pandemic they were suspended, and we wanted to get back together. This is a monthly time to get to know about one big community need, an issue that might affect lots of us and lots of organizations. And then we focus in on collaborative solutions. Who's partnering to address that need in Skagit County across government, nonprofits, business. And then with the Brunch and Learn, our focus is what's community action's piece of that? What programs and services, what strategies do we have? And we try to give information that would help for making good referrals for those of you who are in social services, or in education, or maybe you're an employer and want to connect your employees to those resources. So that's our and then we always end with what you can do, what our community can do to help. So that's our general format. And Isabella, will you please just let me know verbally if you do see East County folks are able to show up? And Sandy, I don't know if you were here for the introduction. Oh, do you know if they're able to get on the internet?
No, they're not able to get on the internet, but I was just going to say that I'm happy to try to jump in and answer questions if I can, even though I didn't prepare for that, but I'm happy to attempt to. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to very sneakily send you the link to our shared agenda so you can see what our talking points were going to be. And if you can, that would be great.
We just had Misty join us, Liz.
Okay, great. I'm going to send this.
Sorry, was having internet issues this morning.
As are many. In fact, our the stars of the show may not be able to be here today, our East County peeps. But we'll go ahead and get started. Sandy will pinch hit for our East County team. And Misty, I know you've got some updates because there's some big changes coming to energy assistance. So we wanted to stick that in there today as well.
Is there any way I can kind of go first? We have a lot going on over here in energy and need to jump off.
Why don't we just jump right in then?
Okay.
Misty, Misty Velasquez is our Energy and Utility Assistance Manager. And Misty, I'm going to share my screen and show folks our web page for energy assistance. But why don't you start by just saying what energy and utility assistance is, and then start telling us a little bit about the changes that are going to happen. Like, we might have known it as one thing. What's it going to be this year?
Okay. So, hi all, I'm Misty. I'm with the Energy Assistance Program. I'm the Energy Assistance Manager here. And this year, our program is being split up. We used to see everybody with one appointment and they would get all of the programs they qualified for in that one appointment. But this year, that's not going to happen. So when people apply for energy assistance with us, they're applying for a LIHEAP appointment, which is from the federal government money. And that will happen as normal. We will schedule an appointment for them. They'll come in with their documentation and they'll get their assistance for their heating source. Puget Sound Energy. Sorry.
And what does LIHEAP stand for, this federal program?
Knew you were going to. It's low income heating and assistance program. Sorry, my brain is not working like that. this morning. But yeah, so low income heating and heating
And
energy and assistance program
Yeah.
is what it is. Yes. And so PSE and Cascade Natural Gas are branching out on their own and changing up their programs this year. So PSE is going from having just the PSE Help program, which used to be where when they came in for their LIHEAP appointment, they would get assistance with their electric bill at the exact same time. Well, this year, people can go online and fill out an application online through Puget Sound Energy, or they can call us and we can do the application for them, or they can walk into our office and we can do that application at the same time when they're here in the office. But they're basically self-declaring their income. They're self-declaring all of their information to Puget Sound Energy, and then based off of what they tell us, we're going to give them their Puget Sound Energy Help Grant. And at the same time, Puget Sound Energy is going to figure out a rate discount off of their bill that will happen every month in the background based off of the information we put into the system and the customers put into the application that they may fill out online.
So let's just stop for a minute and break it down. Energy assistance, energy and utility assistance is an income-based program. So it's not about somebody being in arrears or not having a shut-off notice. It's really just like if the household, not individuals, but if the household meets a certain income level, in the past, they would essentially kind of get a grant, a credit on their bill if they weren't in arrears, or if they were in arrears, it would pay that off. But it basically would eliminate their utility bill until that credit was used up. Is that right?
That is right.
Okay, and so there's so many different energy and utility assistance programs. We used to say, just to make it easy, just call to see if you qualify, because Misty's team will figure out all of the programs that somebody might qualify for. You might qualify for one or multiple programs. But this time around, you're saying that there's going to be some programs that folks can apply through you, but they're going to have to apply directly through Puget Sound Energy for that program. And it's no longer like a one grant. It's just that their overall bill is going to be reduced by a certain amount of rate decrease. Is that right?
No.
Okay, correct me.
So they will still get their one grant, but they don't have to come through us to provide all the documentation to qualify for that one grant. It is now you just self-declare all your information to PSC. We will still complete the grant, but on top of that, you will also get a rate discount off of your bill.
So the rate discount is not instead of, it's on top of. So somebody might get, the household could get that grant, that credit, as well as get an overall lower rate for the rest of the program year. And the program year runs October through September, correct?
Yes.
On that federal budget calendar.
Yes, but there's another little tricky part to it. So PSC will no longer, so the PSC help portion will be the October through September, but the rate discount will now be, when you get on that rate discount, you will be on it for 13 months. And then you have to reapply for it in your 12th month of being on that program. So there's some differences there. And then with that, you're gonna be informed by PSC of what all your benefit amounts are that you qualify. That won't come from us. It will come from Puget Sound Energy.
So let's just say most of the folks who are on this call are community action staff, community partners, and others who are working with lower income families and households. What's the one thing you want them to know? We still are encouraging people to apply. Can more people qualify? Will the system be easier? I mean, this all sounds very complicated, but maybe the changes are complicated. If there's one thing to tell clients, what should we tell them?
If they have the ability to go online, they can go online as of today, fill out that application with Puget Sound Energy, and that's all they have to do. They won't have to do anything more, and then they will get a notice in the mail. So on their end, it's very easy. Just go online, see what the income guidelines are. You could do that from our website or Puget Sound Energy's website. I believe the link is Isabella, is the links on there now for Puget Sound Energy on our website?
No.
Okay.
Oh, to sign up online?
Yeah.
I don't believe we had that on there yet. I think we were
Okay.
waiting until November because your scheduler is also coming up online as well.
Okay.
But we can fix
So
that.
yeah. Yeah, we'll work on that website soon and that will happen. But PSC has it all up and running on their end. So they could just literally go to the PSC website and click on the button there to log in, or not log in,
And-
but to apply.
And our friend Carly Deathridge has shared that link, and I'm going to show it on screen. And so, Misty, so in some ways, this is easier for folks because there's less paperwork. You're saying that people will self-declare their income. They don't have to
Yes.
bring you all of the paperwork that they had to apply, that they had to use before, correct?
Correct.
Now, what happens, how does PSE, how is the, fraud prevention going to happen if everybody just gets to say whether or not they think they qualify?
So each month of all the applicants that apply for these programs, each month, PSC will randomly select 5% of the applicants that apply. And those people will go through a formal audit where someone from our agency will contact them and set them up an appointment, and they will have to bring in all of their documentation at that time.
So instead of everyone having to bring in their documentation, a smaller number of people will have to do it. It's a random sampling as a way to prevent fraud. So in theory, this should make the barriers lower. It should make it easier for people to apply. Is that right?
That is correct. That is what they are hoping.
Okay.
And the income guidelines for Puget Sound Energy are up to 80% AMI.
And what does that mean? What does AMI mean?
Can you go to our website?
Yep.
It's the area medium income. So down here, you're going to see that a 4-person household can make $6,075, and before they do not qualify for the help with PSC. That's also the same for Cascade Natural Gas. You can see that it is significantly higher than the LIHEAP program, which is the one right up above it. So more people in our community are going to qualify for for Puget Sound Energy and Cascade Natural Gas programs, and be able to do that all on their own and not have to provide any documentation. I will say that Cascade Natural Gas program is also changing. We no longer have the WEAF program, which was the Washington Energy Assistance Program through Cascade Natural Gas. That is solely going now to a rate discount program. So anyone who qualified for help with their gas bill will just be able to go on to Cascade Natural Gas's website, fill out an application, and do the same process. It's all self-declaring their income, and they are also going to be auditing, verifying 5% of the people that sign up through them.
Okay, so let's break it down. Key messages. Programs are getting easier than ever before to qualify. The income limits are higher.
Yes.
The second thing is start, if you're able to start the process through your utility account online, individuals and households should start that process themselves online with those utilities. And And if people are confused, can they just call and ask your team questions?
Yes.
Okay, so your
And if
phone number on this website is always a good resource. If somebody's making a referral and they don't know how to answer a client's question, somebody could just call your team and ask these questions, right?
Yes. Yes, and if anybody doesn't have access to the web to internet or to PSC or Cascade Natural Gas, send them to us. We will do the application for them in-house. So they don't have to just apply online. We can do it for them still, but it would be easier to get through if they did do it online themselves, if they can.
Okay, so key messages. It's getting easier. More people qualify at higher income levels. It's worth a shot. Take a look at it. If you can apply online through your utility, do it. If you can't apply online, community action is here to help you. Are those the key takeaways?
Those are the key takeaways.
And what about languages? If somebody calls our energy and utility assistance programs, what languages can you help people in?
Well, we try our best to help people in any language that they speak, but we currently have English and Spanish speakers on site.
And then I know that one of the things about energy assistance, because there had been all of that paperwork in the past, people would sign up 1 month, like you'd open up appointments for signups in 1 month, let's say October, but the appointments to complete the application would be in November. And you are prioritizing seniors. So can you tell us a little bit about your outreach events that are coming up?
Yeah, so for the month of October, we are going to be heading out to 7 different senior apartments in the month of October. And we will be seeing clients there at their location, but seniors who are 60 and older who do not live at the specific apartments that we go to can call us right now and schedule an appointment for them to come in office in November to see us. We are taking appointments Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5 every day, except for we are closed from 12 to 1 for lunch. And then starting in November, we will be taking appointments for December appointments for everyone else who has a heating source in the community. So, and we will be taking those appointments Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 5. We will not just have one scheduling day a month like we have in the past.
So for some people, this energy assistance information is brand new. And they might not realize that in the past, there was only 1 day a month where people could call to make the appointment for the following month. And so not only are the applications and the income guidelines getting easier, but it's easier to access energy assistance, the program. So all of that information is again on the energy assistance website here. The hours are 8:30 to 11:45, is that right?
Yes.
8:30 to 11:45 and 1 to 5 Monday through Friday. And so anyone can call and they'll get that information on how to set up an appointment, or those are the good times to call to just get questions answered as well.
Yes.
Now, we were going to start today talking about East County and rural areas. What kind of outreach, or how do you make sure that people in more isolated parts of the county get energy assistance?
So on October 10th, we will be heading out to Marblemount and seeing anyone who lives in Marblemount. So if you all work with customers who or have contacts with people up in Marblemount and they qualify for programs, have them contact us like immediately to get an appointment for when we go up to October 10th. Now, again, that's all ages that we see up there because they're the furthest point away and it's too hard for them to get down to our office in December. We also will be seeing seniors in the Concrete office on October 17th. So that's anyone 60 and older, and we will be seeing them during the day in person on October 17th there. If the general public, they can start calling in November, and if they can't get to us, we will do phone appointments for anyone in East County and do everything over the phone with them. So they don't have to travel down here to us.
So the key message, the takeaway, the how to make a good referral for East County is if you know somebody who might qualify, get them to call as soon as possible. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and let's talk about these income guidelines just one more time, and then I know you're super busy and are going to have to go. But what if I'm looking at this Puget Sound Energy and Cascade Natural Gas income limit for 4 people in the household. Is that just people who are related to each other, the total income of people who are related to each other?
No, that's any person who's living under that one roof and share they live in the house. They don't have to be related. It's every single person who lives inside that home.
So it's because the utility is serving all of those people, whether or not it's blood relations.
Correct.
Okay, well, what about what if my household, we pulled together all of our pay stubs, and we've got some seasonal workers in the household, and we've got some part-time workers in the household, and it's really hard to figure out what our monthly income is, but we think we make $6,076 last month instead of $6,075. Am I just out of luck and I should just not even look into it at all?
No, you should still look into it. You should put your information into the PSC website. That website is designed to take off the deductions that we take off for earnings, and because there's a 20% deduction taken off of the gross earnings, and that website does that automatically when you put your gross income in there. So you still could qualify for the program. If you think you're not going to, give us a call and we will figure that out for you and give you the thumbs up to go ahead, or say, it does look like you aren't going to be eligible. So I wouldn't recommend filling it out. But if you have any questions, contact us. We will do that. But if you want to try and go ahead and do it on the website and see what it says, and if it comes out that you are over income, call us anyway, because we want to double check and make sure that you really are over income for the program.
And so even if somebody is, or a household is over income, I know because energy and utility assistance is a part of community action, there's a value add there, right? Like your team is screening folks, not just for these PSE and Cascade natural gas programs, but you're looking at all of the types of things that that household might qualify for, because the overall goal here is not just to pay a bill, it's to help incomes or households have a stretched income, that whatever income's coming in, that not as much of it is going out. So what are some of the other things that community action sometimes provides for folks? They come in the door thinking they're asking for energy and utility assistance, and they might get that, or they might have a no, you're barely over. But what are other things what kind of information and referral do you provide?
So we look at your income and we look at all the programs we serve here at Energy Assistance, and we're looking at whether or not you have children under the age of 5, and we may refer you to WIC, or we may refer you to our critical needs department in case you don't have transportation and you need to get to doctor's appointments or something, and we can refer you with bus passes and items like that. We also have food banks that we can refer you to if you need more assistance with food. We can also help with filling out food stamp applications for people who may not know that they qualify for food stamps, but they do fall into those guidelines. And we have people in our agency, or even people here in Energy, who can help fill out those applications for you, so you don't have to go into DSHS and do that yourself.
So energy assistance is one of many programs at Community Action. And one of the benefits of working through our energy assistance program is you get that holistic wraparound services of everything else that Community Action does, plus the information and referral out to other community programs. And I know you said that you're real busy today and need to go, Misty, but do you have, off the top of your head, can you share a story of the kind of difference that's made for a household, maybe a senior or somebody from from East County or a family with kids, like what kind of a difference does it make? What can people do when they save money on their utility bills?
Well, I will say this, when we had last year, let me follow this up. Let me just say this first. We will also have utility assistance up until March. So we will be able to pay water and sewer bills this year through the month of March, which it was supposed to end at the end of this month, but that is going to stick around till the end of March. So with that being said, last year we were able to get a senior who was living in her own home in Anacortes. She was not able to pay her water bill, and she was shut off, didn't have access to water for months and months. They weren't going to turn her back on. She was behind in her electric bill. She was behind in her gas bill. And we were able to help her with all of those bills. And it also turned out that she hadn't been able to pay her taxes on her home, hadn't been able to do a lot of different things. So we were able to pay off all of the money she owed in her water bill and her sewer, got her turned back on for water and sewer. We were able to help her with her electric and gas bill. She didn't get disconnected from those. And she was able to take the money that she would have had to pay on her taxes so she didn't lose her house. So this is
it's a homeless prevention. Energy and utility assistance is a homeless prevention program, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Well, that's
Yes.
amazing. Congratulations, and thank you to your hardworking team. And how many households a year, Skagit County wide? I mean, from East County to Anacortes, north and south, how many households did you help in your last program year or in 2022?
I didn't pull the numbers yet for last year because I've been so busy, but I'm going to say we hit close to almost 3,000 households in Skagit County between all of the programs we offered last year.
So by helping households stretch those dollars, save money on energy and utility assistance so they can pay off other bills or pay for daycare, it's homelessness prevention, and it's really making a difference for people who are feeling that crunch with housing prices, food prices, and other gas prices and everything else. So thank you so much, Misty. Let's just take a pause there. And if you've got a few more minutes, does anyone have questions about energy and utility assistance? You can put it in the chat or just raise your hand or take yourself off mute. Questions for Misty?
I have a question. I help a gentleman here in LaConner who's blind. And in the past, I did all the paperwork and then I faxed it into your energy assistance group and then they handled it. So now, correct me if I'm wrong, and he only got help with his electric bill. So if I'm, and we're supposed, I think November is when he has to renew it. So if I hear you correctly, we go online to PSC and we just do the paperwork ourselves.
Yes, you'll just fill out the application online, and then that's all you have to do is fill that out. Those applications do come to us and we process them, but we will not reach out to the client. It'll be all behind the scenes. So so
and
as long as
does he get a letter or something that
he will, yep, he'll get a letter telling him how much he qualified for PSC help and what his rate discount will be for future bills. If he is income eligible for that LIHEAP program, though, you will need to schedule an appointment with us for him for November, and we will see him doing the LIHEAP application. Not quite sure what his income is, but
I think he's over. Yeah, I think he's over income for that one, but but he wasn't for the other one. So
okay,
perfect. So I'll just work with him, get the application online done, and because most of the people I get, I always refer them to you for energy assistance, and it's okay to still do that if they are not able to have access to a computer.
Yes,
Okay,
Of course. Mhm.
there we-
As long as you have his permission to submit the stuff on his behalf, yes, you guys can do it on your own. I will say though, if you are referring people to the PSC and Cascade Natural Gas websites, please also make sure that you're referring them to us, because we do not want to not serve them with the LIHEAP program. This is going to be possibly a problem in the future. Is people are going to think, okay, well, I've already got my PSC, I already got my Cascade Natural Gas, but then they're losing out on that federal grant, which is very important to keep them getting that federal grant as well, because that's where, and I'm probably going to throw something out here that people might not understand, but the goal of all of these programs is to take someone's energy burden down to 3% of their income, and not up right now where it's at like 30 or 40% of their income. And so in order to get that energy burden down to the 3%, we have to serve them with the LIHEAP program if they're eligible too.
perfect. Thank you.
Yes.
And again, some of this is complicated and there's program names. When in doubt,
Just
shout
call.
out. Yes.
Yes.
Call energy assistance. And I do want, I know Sandy, one of our division directors, actually has some other numbers with energy assistance that she wants to share. But one thing that I want to make sure that we say maybe a couple of times today, Misty, is you know, one of the things that we hear out in the community is that a barrier to getting this assistance, there's a lot of programs, there's paperwork, we know there are barriers. And sometimes a barrier is just the stigma, or people feeling like we hear this from seniors, right? Like last year you went to a senior housing development and only 50% of the people who would have qualified signed up. And we asked a group of seniors about this, and they said, oh, well, somebody needs it more than me. You know, they're generous. They don't want to take something that somebody else might be able to use. Or there might be a stigma of like never having to ask for help before. And they think, oh, I shouldn't have to. I'm proud of having taken care of all of this on my own before. What are the key messages that caseworkers and others working with families and seniors, what are the key messages around either somebody needs it more than me, or I shouldn't have to, I don't want to ask for help?
So one of the key messages is there's enough energy assistance to go around for everyone that qualifies for it. They shouldn't feel like somebody else is going to get more if they don't get theirs, because that's not the case. They also have paid into this their entire life, and they've paid into the federal government. They pay their bills with Puget Sound Energy, and all of this money that is funding these programs are all ratepayer money from Puget Sound Energy and Cascade Natural Gas. So they put their money into it. They should get it back if they need it. They
So
shouldn't
all of
be
us who
ashamed.
pay a bill every month, we're paying into this system so that if we need it, it's there for us as well as for our neighbors.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. And Sandy, what did you want to say about energy assistance, the quantitative numbers?
Right. The question just came up about, you know, how many people were served with energy assistance. And I just did a quick look in the last program year. There were more than 2,100 households served with energy assistance, which equates to, it looks like, just about 4,900 unduplicated individuals who have benefited from energy assistance, almost 5,000 individuals. And that, and we know that not everybody is applying who is eligible for it. So that's pretty exciting. That's a huge number of people to be benefiting from this important service.
So Sandy, I do want to throw in there that did not have our water and sewer program added into it, because we just weren't able to get those numbers into Empower. So
okay, so then we're looking at probably many hundreds more than that.
Yes.
So,
Great. Well, thank you. Any last questions for Misty, and then we can cut her loose because she's busy today?
I just want to say thanks to Misty for a great presentation and some really, really useful information. Thank you.
And Isabella, can we maybe get together at some point today so we can at least get PSC's website and Cascade Natural Gas website on that portion of our thing? It's just our scheduling tool I don't want on there till November.
Yes, and
Okay.
so it did look like they were on there. It
Okay.
just didn't look like the link was super visible. It was like red and not hyperlink blue, but we can add in more language like click here.
Awesome. Sounds great. Thank you.
Thanks, Misty.
Yep. Okay.
Thank your team for us.
I will. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. You know, being a nimble nonprofit like Community Action is, we roll with things like our featured guests not being here at 8 o'clock in the morning. And we're sad that our East County friends are having internet problems. And that actually is an example of one of the challenges faced by people living in rural and isolated parts of Skagit County. So we're going to shift gears and talk about East County needs and resources. And we're lucky to have Sandy here. Sandy Finney is a division director at Community Action who works with our East County team. Why don't we start with that question? So we know that broadband, stable internet, access to utilities, including energy, are challenges for people in East County. What is the experience of poverty in rural and isolated parts of Skagit County? How is it similar or different to what people might face if they're living in Burlington or Anacortes or Mount Vernon?
Well, it'd be similar in the ways that, everybody's trying to figure out how to stretch, a limited income to be able to meet their basic needs in terms, for food, shelter, warmth, things like that. So that is going to be very similar. But in rural areas, there's going to be some differences. And I know that I feel like I can't speak as well to this as staff who have been living and working up there for a long time. But I think one of the things we see is, first of all, the access to things like phones and internet. It's not necessarily easy. It requires a lot more infrastructure. Things do go down. One of the reasons they do go down is because there's more severe weather up there. So it's pretty common for there to be electrical outages up there due to snow and wind and floods and things like that. So that just makes access to phone connection and internet connection that much harder. And even setting up the area, there's not here where we've got 5G, there's not necessarily 5G in all places up in rural areas. That's important to know. The other thing too, I would say related to weather is that, in addition to severe weather being able to affect the phone and internet access, severe weather like floods, we know what's happened with floods in the past. That has had a major impact on people living up, especially in East County and in other areas as well. But there's, people live in the valley, and so and there's especially a lot of people who are experiencing poverty who are living very close along the river, and that may, like in RVs or other houses that are in the floodplain, and they may be drastically affected by that and don't have the assets or resources to be able to bounce back from that devastation very easily.
And let's just talk about like the straight numbers. Go ahead. Were you going to say something else?
I was also going to say just access to jobs. There's not as many businesses and jobs up there too, and so it makes it difficult if you're living in East County. There aren't as many opportunities. And the other thing too, if you're in a rural area, is that transportation options are limited as well. So those are a couple of the things that make living in a rural area, in particular East County, different than living in Skagit Valley and the more urban areas.
And just the straight rates of poverty are higher in rural areas. Is that right?
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah, when I saw you shared with our team some graphs of the services that Community Action provides in the different cities and unincorporated areas. And even if we don't have a front door, we've got resource centers in Concrete, Mount Vernon, Anacortes, and that's Connect in Burlington. But all Community Action services are available throughout the county. And in fact, we serve a higher percentage of the population in Concrete and East County than we do in other cities. So there's a higher investment in supporting families in East County. Can you say a little bit more about that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, in terms of just actual numbers, of course, we're serving more people in the Cedar Woolley, Burlington, Mount Vernon area. But if you look at the number of people we serve versus the population numbers, we're serving a much, much higher proportion of residents of rural areas, especially in the East County area. So it's basically a higher investment because there is a higher rate of poverty in that area.
Now, we've been talking about energy and utility assistance, and one thing that we didn't mention when Misty was on is that those needs are different in East County as well. And energy assistance can provide propane, heating oil, lots of firewood. Like we put a lot of money into the local economy by contracting with vendors to provide firewood and heating oil and things along those lines. The other issue that Community Action works on that is a critical need in East County is housing. And I know that the experience of living without a home is different in East County, but one of the challenges that we've seen just in the last couple of years is during the pandemic, while the rate of home ownership, the cost of a home has gone up countywide, it's skyrocketed in East County. There were a lot of people from outside the community who moved to East County, and housing prices for home ownership went up like 23% in 1 year between 2020 and 2021. So can you just talk a little bit about challenges for all types of housing, including multifamily and that type of thing?
Sure. There's a couple different things, specifically with the cost of properties rising so significantly. That's affecting people in a couple ways. One is that locals who live and work up there aren't able to afford to buy a home because the rates are so high. The second is it affects their property value or their property tax as well. And so they're ending up having to pay much higher property taxes because their property values are going up, which impacts them, especially those who are living on fixed incomes. And there are a higher number of seniors living out in East County as well. So in addition to property values going up, rents are going up as well. And it makes it really difficult for people who live and work up there, regular working class, to be able to afford even their rents as well. And that's really significant. So there isn't a lot of affordable workforce housing, essentially. And there's also not, there's not a big stock to begin with, and there's not much being built. And so what is being built are the much, much higher end houses, as opposed to workforce housing, multifamily housing, things like that. So there's a really big need for multifamily, I'd say affordable housing, but really it's just middle-class workforce housing that's really needed, and a bigger stock of it in order to provide places for people to live who are living and working up there or want to live and work up there.
So we've got a picture of the needs, and the East County Resource Center. I'm going to ask you a question, and then I'll share my screen. So the partnership that Community Action has is with Skagit County government. They own 2 facilities that Community Action manages in Concrete. The Ted Anderson East County Family Resource Center, which is one of our front doors to services in Skagit County, and the Concrete Community Center, which used to be the senior center, but now serves the entire community. So can you talk a little bit about this new concept of care coordination, and how, if people are facing those challenges of the difference of the experience of poverty in East County, what happens when they walk in the front door of the resource center? What are the types of wraparound services that are available there?
Sure. Well, and for many, many years, what we've been doing is providing some, basic information and resources and things like vouchers to be able to meet residents' critical needs that they have. And so that's something we've been able to do for a long time, serving quite a few hundred people a year through the East County Resource Center. What's different and new now is that we now have a care specialist as part of our sort of, care coordination service delivery efforts. who is attempting to make sure that anybody coming in with a challenge related to housing or other needs is going to actually, instead of just being able to have like that one-time transactional relationship, is going to work with that person to say, all right, how can we make sure that we're working with you long term to help you towards your goals, whether that's housing, whether that's a job, whether that's physical and mental health. It's a more holistic approach to working with somebody, essentially case management, but it's very client centered. Like what are the needs that this particular person has right now? How do we work together to help them access the needs and resources they have, and not just on a one-time basis, but over and over. So that's kind of the difference of what care coordination is. It's taking a look at what the client needs in the moment, working with them over time on a number of different areas to improve their overall situation.
And in addition to that front door to services by phone or in concrete, there's more outreach being done, like pop-ups and things like that, and a partnership with our street outreach team. Can you talk a little bit about what happens outside of concrete?
Sure. So there's two different things too. So our street outreach team does do pop-up events to make sure to and they have them at on a schedule where people who are experiencing homelessness or who may be having some housing instability know where they can come to be able to get resources, ask questions, get some food, things like that. So our street outreach team does that to make sure that they are reaching the people who are not so visible in the community. Then at the same time, our East County Resource Center staff have been reaching out and having days where they go down to Hamilton and spend a day in Hamilton, making sure that folks in that community who don't have good access to transportation are able to get questions answered, get some information about basic food stamps, learn about, get some food, other resources that might be available to them. And also, so Hamilton is one place, also in Marblemount as well. And Rockport, we do events as well. So we want to make sure that it's not just a matter of having East County residents come to the East County Resource Center, but that we can go out to them as well in a number of different ways. And that's pretty important in making sure we're reaching people where they're at, and making sure they know what resources are available to them and getting them some critical needs.
So in addition to the resource center and the outside the resource center, taking the resource center out into the community, and being there, walking alongside folks who may not be as visible in the community, there's a pretty visible service Monday through Friday at the Concrete Community Center, and that's the meal program. And we've talked about this before, so maybe just briefly talk a little bit both about the importance of the meal program for nutrition, and that other really important social emotional side of the work that we do.
Sure, it's a very, very important program that we run. And again, the Concrete Community Center is a building that is owned by Skagit County, and we're contracted to do the meal program there. And there's a big kitchen. We've got staff who run the kitchen and provide meals 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, for community members. Any community members can participate in it. About half are seniors on a fixed income, and they're welcome to come. What's really important for many of the seniors is the socialization, being able to come to a place and have conversations and meet with people, because we know that isolation for seniors can be a major mental health problem. And so that's actually one of the things that we see. We want people to be able to come together, to have a meal together. So there's that social aspect of it. And of course, the nutrition aspect of it is really important too. We do have some low-income seniors up in East County that this is their only warm meal of the day. And it is absolutely vital. And for many people, not just seniors, but others as well, it is their only meal of the day. So it's really important to make sure that we're providing that service. And even during COVID, when we had to stop having people in the community center for the meals, staff were really creative and said, all right, how do we, box them up? And people would line up and get their box lunches. And even now, if there are times when they're not able to provide a warm lunch, if there's an electrical problem, hot water, they're able to say, all right, we're doing sandwiches, takeaway meals that people can have, like things like that they're able to do. It's a really important service that serves, on average, we have about 30 to 50 of people coming in per day to get a meal. It equals about 400 unduplicated people in over the course of a year is how many we're serving, and that has gone up over the years. So it's a wonderful service that they're providing to the community. We are always looking for volunteers to help out in the kitchen and to help serve food. I saw Sam on the call earlier. I don't know if he's still here, but he's one who helped to prepare food and serve it, which was wonderful. And we've got some committed volunteers there. I also want to say that we're really excited that the county has gotten a big grant to reconstruct the Concrete Community Center, because it is a pretty old building, and we are very excited, and they worked with us closely to find out what we needed, and what would be great, what would be best for the community in terms of what that center needs to look like. So we're pretty excited that renovation is going to be happening in the coming years.
Well, you mentioned volunteers, and that was always we always end with what people can do, and we're always looking for volunteers. It's also, of course, donations to the concrete meal program and the East County Resource Center are helpful, because our Rockstar team out there, they don't know what food they're going to have to be able to make a meal sometimes until the day they're making it, and they don't always have what they need, and they still manage to make nutritious, delicious, amazing meals. So people participating as volunteers and as donors are always welcome, but we certainly have to mention that all of this is through partnership with Skagit County, with Mount Baker Presbyterian Church, with a number of other partners. And would you like to just do any shout outs and maybe say both anything about the partnerships to make it run, but also partners who come and provide services through the resource center or through at the community center?
Sure, I will do my best. So obviously County Public Health is our closest partner. We work very closely with them to make sure that we're providing those services, especially down the Concrete Community Center. I want to say, and our volunteers are very important in making that work. I do want to say too that Tara Rubel, who's our food coordinator down there, does a great job of being very creative about meal planning and being flexible when needed, when the food that's ordered isn't delivered and something else is delivered, and having to go with the flow on that. That's pretty important. But I think she wants to make sure that the nutrition is there. And so she works also with our food distribution center to make sure that we're getting nutritious foods as well. So that's an important relationship, at least internally. So externally, one of the we work with a number of partners who come to the East County Resource Center to be able to provide services. So WIC services come to our East County Resource Center, I believe, twice a month, which is really important to make sure that families, mothers and children in East County have access to WIC services. This is our Concrete Community Center. I see I think that's Chris Diaz, who's our veterans liaison. And so Chris comes up, I believe now it's twice a month. It could be once a week. I'm not sure about that, but he comes up to make sure that veterans can come in and get access to benefits and services that are available. We also have telehealth appointments that can be arranged with Compass Health that take place in our East County Resource Center. This is a CMAR van. I also know that the DSHS mobile van has come up as well, and been available in cooperation with us, which our team is very happy about. I'm trying to think, who am I missing in terms of partners who come up? That's external, but also internal. Once a week, we have somebody from our employment program go up and be available to talk with people about employment supports and what opportunities there would be for getting into some supportive employment. I don't know, Liz, who am I missing in terms of
Well, I want to
partners?
acknowledge that those photos came from Madeline at Skagit County Public Health for a wonderful event that they put together, a Care Connection program that brought lots of different partners. They organized it to bring lots of different partners to that site. And that was an important partnership. And then also working with the county, as you mentioned, part of the challenge in East County is natural disasters. I shouldn't laugh, but it's just like, it's so predictable. It's not an emergency because we know it's going to happen, but there are these emergent situations. And so Department of Emergency Management, Public Health, and then planning for cold weather. And I want to acknowledge that the county has been working really, really hard on cold weather and other emergency shelters throughout the county. And it's challenging because there has to be a church or a nonprofit who's able to run the shelters. And many of us are doing the emergency services that people need during the day, the critical needs services, I should say, every day, and we don't have the resources to open a shelter, but we're looking at the possibilities as a community together at what we can do for sheltering in East County. I believe Mount Baker Presbyterian Church has a transportation plan for helping to get folks from East County to shelters. And then I do want to share that the county, Madeline, is doing a wonderful job this year on training shelter volunteers that can be deployed when we need them. So that if people are interested in serving as a volunteer at any shelter during the day or overnight, during emergencies or cold weather situations, there's an entire training program that Madeline's put together, in-person trainings as well as virtual trainings. And I'll grab that link so that if anybody wants more information, they can reach out and get involved as volunteers for that program as well. So I know we've only got a couple of minutes left, and I welcome any questions, but Bill or Sandy or any of our partners who help provide services in East County, would you like to jump in with any last words?
I think the last word I would want to say, especially on partnerships, is working in partnership up in East County is one of the most important things we can do. And we've developed a good relationship again with the county, with Mount Baker Presbyterian Church, they've got a MAT program, the medically assisted treatment. It's really important. And we've got a street outreach and recovery navigator program. They really need to work seamlessly together to make sure that people are getting services they need. And I think we've developed some great relationships. And I just want to kind of shout out our staff who have really invested in developing those partnerships, and our partners as well, who have been open to talking and solving problems when they come up. And I think that being open-minded about that is important because it's going to be best for the community.
So one other takeaway of what people can do if you're participating today is if your organization has programs or services that you would like to extend to East County, you can reach out to Sandy here on the call today, or using the phone number on our website for our East County team to talk about what that might look like, how to get your programs and services up in East County. And we look forward to not only participating in direct services and in collaborating on that, but community action and our partners are also working on advocacy to bring more resources, to bring more housing, for better public policies to focus resources in rural and isolated parts of the county. So thank you all very much for being here, and have a great Wednesday.